Well, the Georgia Bulldogs fall badly tonight to South Carolina, 35-7. Carolina will almost certainly be the #3 team in the country this week coming up, and the Gamecocks, this game was as big a game as they've ever had. I mean, that sounds crazy, but it's true. And they played as well as I've ever seen them play against Georgia. A lot of that was Georgia not really being ready to go at the beginning of the game. But a lot of it was that defense for the Cocks, and they looked as good as they've ever looked against Georgia. I've watched this game for 20 years, and only 224 yards for Georgia. That's just really not good. And I think a lot of people after the game were very matter-of-fact about it. Aaron Murray said Georgia got their butt whipped, which they did. I thought they could have made a push in the second quarter, and it felt like they did, but once they did not score a touchdown on 4th down from the 1 or 2, whatever it was, yeah, that's at the point when everybody, I think, knew that the game was Georgia would have to need a miracle in the second half, and they didn't have that. You could talk about the game a lot tonight. I mean, Marcus Lattimore did not beat Georgia. It was Connor Shaw. And being aggressive, it seemed like, on some of those routes that South Carolina was running got Georgia into some trouble. South Carolina wound up only completing 6 passes, but it had a 62-yarder, 2 touchdowns. There was a time in the game when Georgia, really did stop South Carolina in the middle of the game. But, if your offense isn't scoring, and boy, this offense certainly did seem to either take a break or just get its butt whipped all night long, then it becomes difficult to stay in games. And this game was not really competitive after a while. The guys fought, but the game was over as soon as they didn't score going into the end zone. I know a lot of people will be extremely disappointed with this outcome. Not necessarily even the outcome, but just the decisive nature of it. It was about as bad. I think the Alabama game in 2008 was worse, but whenever you start comparing things to the Alabama game in 2008, that means you've hit a certain threshold that's certainly not very good. The issue is, however, that the season is not over. And these guys have 6 games to play at least. Probably almost certainly 7 with a bowl game. Can they make it back to Atlanta? Yeah, they can. They can't play like this, but they can. They can certainly beat Florida, and the Gamecocks, I think, are going to give LSU a lot of trouble. The question is, will they beat them or not? I'm not really sure. That's the challenge of the SEC scheduling, is you always have to play someone legitimate from the West. This time Georgia gets away with Ole Miss and Auburn, while Carolina is going to grab LSU and someone else Arkansas, who has completely fallen off the face of the earth. But, tough road here now for the Cocks. They've still got to play Tennessee. They've still got to play Florida. They've still got to play LSU. Georgia still has to deal with Florida, a team that is clearly progressing. And this was just a massive step back for Georgia. I mean, people can get fired up about it if they want to, and they should, because people travel these games, they spend money, they do this, that, and the other, and then they invest emotion in it. And when their team gets beat the way Georgia got beat tonight, there's nothing good for fans about this. For the team, it's one loss. Fans are fans. Team, the people on the team are different, and they know it's one loss, and they know they lost once last year to this team and came back to win the East. Can that happen again this year? Sure. In fact, it could be like a 3-way tie kind of deal. But my guess is Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina are going to all have at least one loss by the time the season's over. A couple of those teams could have 2 losses in the conference. And so for Georgia, the focus will be figuring out how to play better, A, and then B, not giving up on the season. There will be a lot of snap reaction about this, that these guys haven't played overwhelmingly well the last 2 weeks, and that's true. I mean, they had plenty of chances to lose that Tennessee game. They almost should have lost that game if you start rattling things off that happened. But the focus should be beating Kentucky and moving forward from there. If they do that, then they're still in the race. They lose to the Kentucky. They let Carolina beat them twice. You can forget it. So, anyway, wrapping up here from Columbia, Georgia falling 35-7 in Columbia, and they will have the week off before playing Kentucky in Lexington.